they mess less things up in the lower units and they're cheaper.
Very well.
Okay, any other discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Item number 5, we're here to review the progress related to the ability of the district to have effective enforcement of ordinance 2018-1 on its effective date of August 1st, 2018, and modify the effective date of ordinance 2018-1 if effective enforcement will not be able to be provided as of August 1st, 2018. One of the things that I know we have decided we want is we want a water safety patrol officer on the launch ramps. I think that's your desire, Dan?
Yes.
At least for the beginning part of this. As of August 1st, will we be able to have a water safety patrol officer at each of the launch ramps?
We will not.
What, since our last meeting on July 11th, what, if anything, have you done to hire additional water safety patrol officers?
I posted employment opportunity probably about a month and a half ago. I received since then 5 applications. One guy that I actually had before the advertisement went out, I just hired him this week, and I'm in the process of doing backgrounds on 3 other applicants right now.
When is the earliest any of these potential officers would be available? Well, let's start out with, when would they be trained, background checks, and final interviews, drug screening?
Depending on when the backgrounds get finished up, I would assume 1 to 2 of them would be done by mid next week. We would, from there, if they checked out fine, it would go to a final interview. And then after the final interview, if that worked out okay, they would go for drug screening. And then after that, it would be a matter of getting together with that individual and bringing them aboard and going through all the paperwork. And then usually we're into FTO, which is training for a few weeks. But I guess I would say potentially, we might be able to have another one on board by the 11th.
August 11th.
If these, one or 3 of these or whatever checks out.
How about the one that's pretty well through the process? In fact, this weekend is doing training.
Yes, he's signed up for some training. I have him on a couple shifts this weekend, actually tomorrow, and I think another one. That following first weekend, there is no availability for him for that weekend. And I think the following weekend after that, he's available on that Sunday.
The 12th.
If that's the 12th, yes.
Yeah, that would be August 12th. The other 3 candidates that you're processing, it's possible that all 3 of them fail out.
Around the 18th or 19th, it's
No,
possible.
excuse me, that it's also possible that those 3 that you're just starting the process would not work out.
Correct.
Okay.
They're in the beginning stage of the background.
Okay. So it appears that based on what we have currently, we might be able to start on Sunday, the 12th, August 12th.
We could start possibly on the 12th, but we would only be able to man 1 launch.
Okay.
Yes.
How,
Buzz has a question around it.
Yeah, my question is, why do we need a fully trained water safety patrol officer to close off the launch ramp? I mean, if they're a trained officer, a peace officer, who has been through all the police training, and you know, one would assume that they don't have to know everything about all the rules of being on the water as far as you know, the safety issues out there and all that sort of thing, since that's not going to be their job. I'm wondering why we would go through all this training.
I'm not saying that they would need FTO before they could do launch enforcement. I need to hire them before they can do launch enforcement. I only have one guy that's hired on right now.
Okay, so
His first availability would be in August, would be that Sunday, the 11th.
I understood you to say that they had to go through several.
They do go through FTO for the water safety patrol. They go through a training program. It's 3 to 4 weeks, riding with officers. They would not need a training program, obviously, to enforce launch. No, they are all, you know, either retired officers or currently working other law enforcement jobs. So you are correct in saying that I would not have to train them to work at the launch.
How many full-time how many positions are you authorized to hire for?
Yeah, I don't
What's full
have
employment, I guess?
I don't have any limited number. I mean, obviously, we don't want to go over, I believe, 50, but, you know, we're at, right now our staff is at 12 part-time officers, including myself. With all summer staff, I think we're around 23.
I'm talking about actual officers, I guess.
I can hire 20, 25, I don't know.
Sky's the limit.
Sure.
Okay.
The more the merrier.
I
You
don't
know,
think-
we're staffing 5 lakes, or 3 lakes, so I'm staffing 5 officers on Saturdays and Sundays. We have 2 officers on Big Cedar, and officer on Little Cedar, and an officer on Silver Lake that we have to staff patrols on. Obviously, our first priority is staffing officers on the lake to enforce the safety concerns that we have on the lake. So that priority, you know, would take over putting an officer on the launch and taking him from the lake, in my opinion.
I have another question regarding on the lake. This is a peripheral question. I think it's been mentioned at these meetings before that the state has changed the regulations about pulling water skiers, and it's no longer required to have 2 people in the boat as long as you have 1 person with a rear view mirror. That strikes me as an extremely dangerous set of circumstances on these busy weekends, since people who are pulling, especially their children, are going to be spending a lot more time looking backwards at their kids than they're looking forward where they're going. So I agree with you in the sense that we got to have the water safety patrol people on the water with this new situation and with the overcrowding. I think those of us who are familiar with the lake on the weekends witness this all the time. So I agree with you on that subject, that being on the water under these crazy circumstances is more important than closing off the launch ramp. So, you know, I agree.
When we do close off the ramp at Conway Drive, for example, and we're monitoring the parking lots, do you expect the water safety patrol officer that's assigned to Conway Drive launch facility to be also dealing with the parking lots?
My idea with that is that we will have 2 people at Gonring Drive. We will have 1 officer working the launch itself, the gate, or I guess not gate, we're proposing that we use cable running from post to post. There will be an officer manning that, and then we will also need someone probably in the vicinity of the lots to make, you know, keep an eye on when they're open, when they're closed, or when they're available, I should say. And we could probably monitor that with one of the employees off the weed crew. You know, he could probably use the 6-wheeler to do that.
And how will we physically close the launches?
My plan is to, like I said, use a cable. It's gonna go across from fence to post on the launcher, which is just probably right almost where the launch box is. And the officer will man it. When there's a spot open, he will open the cable, let the next person in, or if someone's coming out, he'll let them out. You know, we wanna try to keep it far enough down where we can still have the turnaround area used for when they wanna turn around and back in, and then in the same sense, when it does start, that we get traffic starting to wait in line to go in, that we really don't wanna exceed more than 5 vehicles waiting to go in at that time. So I'm thinking if we go to, say, North Lake Drive, anything past that would not be allowed to sit and wait.
Have you got any thoughts about giving the waiting vehicles a number or some kind of a card that when a spot opens up, they have to show the card with the number on it? That's the
We
next.
could do that. I mean, if we only have 5 vehicles there, obviously we'd only have 5 cards. I don't know that we want to hand out, 10, 15 cards and then the people never come back, but, I mean, it would be the same concept in lining up, but that would be something we could do. And basically, Hacker and Betcher or Hacker and Cedar Park would be the same style of closing off with just a cable that would go up on Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays. When I guess we're able to man those, if we are.
Okay. How about residents who say, look, we're not going into the parking lot? Will they be allowed to launch their boat if the lot is full?
I believe that, and I had spoke at the last meeting on this, and kind of the way the ordinance is written is that there's not gonna be any favoritism for anybody. If the lot's full, you can't launch.
And if they
If
have
they-
their boat repaired and they bring it back to bring it in, if they try to put it in on a Saturday, Sunday, or a holiday,
They're gonna have to wait for an open spot.
they should probably do it either
They're
early
gonna have
in
to
the
do it
morning.
early in the morning, or later at night, or on
Or
Friday.
on Fridays, Thursdays, so forth. Okay.
I don't think it's fair to let people through to launch if you have people waiting to get in.
Okay. So it looks like the earliest we can actually get started is August 12th, for sure. 11th, maybe.
Right now, the way that the schedule, I just completed the schedule, we do the schedule 2 weeks in advance. For what I have right now, 12th would be the earliest that we could man one person for launch enforcement at Conroy.
So the other 2 launches would be unmanned still.
Correct.
Okay, the ordinance says that the ordinance becomes effective on August 1st. Doesn't look like we can deal with August 1st. Hopefully, with the earliest we can do it would be the 12th, most likely. So I don't think that we need to amend the ordinance. We just say we can start when we can have or people, water safety patrol officers available to work. And the earliest we think that can happen is August 12th.
Yeah, and I don't know, I guess, what the position is what we're gonna do with Hacker and Cedar Park. I mean, I guess
Well, Hacker might be the easier of the two, because you can just go over there and,
well, that's what I'm
Put the-
saying is if you're gonna do it, you might as well just gate up Hacker for the day, once the lot's full. And if they wanna get on or off after that, they're gonna have to go through the other launches instead of trying to man a launch that doesn't even have any parking spots.
That makes sense. Anybody else have any questions?
Do you need a motion to? Okay, Brian has a question.
I guess we can make a motion to practically make the first time we actually enforce the ordinance, August 12th.
All right, Brian had a question first.
Yeah, I guess my question is, we're reviewing on if we can effectively enforce the ordinance. I've heard that we need to give the DNR 60 days notice for
No.
this. Is that's already been
That's
decided, or
not the way
that's
I
not
interpret
valid?
the law.
I have not heard back from the DNR. They've been debating this for 3 weeks with their legal team, and they haven't said anything.
So then I'll make a motion that, subject to getting the appropriately trained personnel in place, that we refrain from instituting the ordinance 2018-1 until such time we can, as we can get an individual or more as deemed necessary in place to enforce the 2018-1 ordinance.
Which at the early, you might want to add, which at the earliest would be either August 11th or 12th.
Well, okay, which appears at the time that the ordinance would be August 11th or 12th. I mean, I don't know if that's necessary.
But that should be in the motion, I think, also.
Okay, very well.
All right.
So that's, I'll put that in the motion then, amend the motion to say that.
Any second?
Second.
Discussion?
I don't really know if we need to have this vote. If the ordinance is already in the books, it's just a matter of if it's enforced or not. It's not, we wanna tell what days it's enforced on. You know, the ordinance already has August 1st as the start, so
But it will not be starting, and I think the motion just kind of modifies that for the people. And
Well-
we've been telling people, and we've got signs on the launch facilities.
well, as of August 1st, no one should be launching once it's full. It's just, it won't,
We're not
it won't be a
gonna-
manned launch at that point.
We will not be enforcing it. So even though they might not, we're telling, by this motion, I think we're telling the public that they will still have, they will not have any closure of the launch on the 4th and 5th of August.
That's like the cops saying that they're not gonna do a speed trap in one area because they're not able to man it one weekend.
Well, if you want to make a motion, or vote no on the motion that's before you, or an amendment, you can do that. Okay, any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No,
No.
Who do we have? One?
Oh, I have a show of hands, so we.
3 and 3.
If you wanna just do a roll call, Julie?
Frank? Aye.
Aye.
Mike Burns?
Nay.
Chris Gumpy?
Nay.
Brian Krebs?
no,
Paul Sackett?
Aye.
Roger?
Aye. Doesn't pass. So we don't have a motion. And as Brian said, we don't need a motion.
this is just my thought.
Okay. We will still advertise or tell the public in your social media when the earliest we would start.
Right. I mean, we put the signs up, I ordered the signs are up at Gonring, they're up at Hacker, they're up at Cedar Park, they've been there for a week and a half. The ordinance has been posted in the legal section of the newspaper. It's ran 2 times. So I guess when we're ready to enforce it, and when I have the manpower, I'll let you know.
Okay. Any other business? I entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make that
So-
motion.
I'll second.
Thank you.
Any discussion? Thank you all for coming.
They get your
Meeting
motion.
is adjourned.
I get most of them at the county board for every
Just so you guys know, I handed this out, if you guys want to take a look at this.
Yeah, I was looking at
I did. Thank you very much.
Can I ask you a quick question? I live in Hacker, and we've tried voting it out already, so you guys said I can do that. How am I supposed to get my vote off?
You're gonna have to use concrete drive.
How am I gonna get my vote off?
Drive, get over with the trailer.
So I'm just gonna
The recommendation by the Wisconsin legislators 10 days, but that's their recommendation.
Yeah,
And
I can get it off
there's
early.
also, I believe the case you were
How am I
talking
gonna get it
about
off like
has
7
been
o'clock at
appealed.
night? If nobody's gonna
You
be
have to
there.
utilize one or the other.
I read
Well,
something.
if it's at 7 o'clock at night,
I
it
know
probably
you're an
won't be.
attorney.
Okay, all right, so anyway, I'm just saying, like, if you guys are
I'm
interested.
reading a lot of, I'm learning a lot about case law.
Because I know,
That's all right, we were thinking like, well,
Send me
keep
over.
you right, I just didn't have time to fill it
We're
in.
thinking from like 7
Hoping
to
to be able
8
to
to start the
get it
enforcement. till
And
5.
I know Mr. Krebs has sent me his, Mr. Krebs has sent me his documentation, so, thank you.
My question, if you got mine.
I got yours.
He's only been on the commission
My records only go back 2 months, that's all I got here.
That's, well, that is what I'm asking for, so, and you said that you sent everything that you
Those are
had.
the two
Not that I have to get up for like.
that you didn't.
I sent her other ones that I had too, but I sent you some other stuff, just some of my
And then like
research.
another thing I was gonna bring up.
Would you send me everything?
Yeah, I can forward it on.
All of
You know, like, are you guys gonna be able to know who's.
Hacker Drive,
Really
what
low.
we're thinking with hackers, we're just gonna
And you,
get.
you did look at it.
And we'll go back,
Just,
take the
I
date
printed
down.
this out just so I didn't know
and
if you
it'll be
wanted, if we were
open.
gonna go over it tonight or
Okay.
not. But
So
how
if
to
we
get
do
the
have our
county
vote on
to
there
do it.
somehow, we can still take it off on Garnering Drive. We'll take the drive.
It's kind of a 3-step process.
Thank you.
Yeah, a number of people on Schneider Court would like to know how we withdraw.
That would be a question you could ask about. I did get your email and I forwarded it to him. I can't
Oh,
answer
yes,
that.
yes, yes.
I don't know that it's physically possible because you live in the district.
$450 is an awful lot for garbage.
You can ask Rhonda
It's a
that.
lot of money, and you guys won't let me on the lake, and you're gonna raise my taxes. So you can put somebody there to keep me off the lake. I'm looking for, see where that might be a little frustrating.
I'm with the county, I just turned over the
I don't know why you did.
county's attorney office. He told me what to send in.
Is there a way that we could petition to have Schneider Court for the next Cedar Lake PRD?
There is a process in the statute. I'm not that familiar with it, but it would be in chapter 30.
Yeah, because some of the people on there,
We would
they,
oppose it. We would oppose it.
well, of course, you get my money. You want my money, you just don't want me to go on your lake.
There's ways for you to get on. Monday through Friday,
Yeah.
you're in there. If you want to go out there, weekends, so you just,
We're gonna keep.
what do you do when- after you put your boat in?
I go park in my driveway, but I can't do it if the launch is changed.
No, if the launch is changed, you won't be able to put it in. You will be able to take it out. So
So if I go to church on Sunday morning, then I can't launch my boat.
where do you, it's not in your,
We're at Schneider Court.
I know
Right
that.
up there.
If you put your boat in, you don't have a place
I
to
have,
store
actually, I
it
reached
on
out
the
to,
water.
No, we're not allowed to. Can't moor it, you know, can't, not allowed to
No,
do
there's
that.
no pier that you can have.
No,
Well,
no, we're paying $400.
well, then go on Saturday so you don't go to church. Have to go to church.
And that's what I asked him.
You may have to, this this is not unusual. All these other lakes don't make any exception.
I don't. I'm just saying, we're paying taxes, and I think that when people weren't represented well in 1776, when they're paying taxes, there was a big revolt.
Okay.
I mean, it just doesn't seem right.
I just letting you know, there is a procedure in the
Thank you.
statute.
So we'll take a look at that.
Okay.
Can you include, Mr. Welch, a records request for the statute of the Big Cedar, like your charter, all your bylaws? Can I get a copy of that? You don't have any bylaws? What about the charter you were referring to that gentleman? You were saying that there was a chapter on
Chapter 33 is what governs all inland lake protection rehabilitation districts.
Okay, so you have no charter. You're just going based on Wisconsin statute.
When did you do that, though?
Just to know how they, I don't remember.
Yeah, so
I was not on
that was
the
not that long
board,
ago.
second board. But, and I don't know if they gave charter.
If they do, I would like a copy.
Okay, is there anything else for us?
Any record requests?
No, I just want to explain that.
Okay, I saw that, Jay. That's good.
I'm orally asking for a record.
Any record you want.
I'm able to orally ask for a record.
Right, well, the thing is, and this is
Cooperation.
we're still only staff.
I have to make a form request. You won't honor a verbal request?
It's very easy for you to do.
To just see bylaws and like what rules you guys go by?
No, I'm making an oral request for that.
We go by the statute.
Okay, and I'm allowed to make verbal requests for public records.
Do whatever you want.
I will. Thank you.
But if you need the form, ask for it.
I don't need the form. I'm asking for it verbally. Thank you.
It's simpler for you to ask the form. You want to play a game?
No, sir, I don't want to play any game. I think we're playing a huge game here.
We have, that's your
It
interpretation.
absolutely is. And Fox 6 and Mark Belling.
I don't care.
There's a lot.
I don't listen to Mark Belling.
That's
You must.
no. I just want to make sure that we're being transparent in government, sir. That's important to me as a community citizen. I want transparency in my government.
Good. We have it.
Sign.
Oh, yes. I looked at your, started to look at your stuff.
All right, guys, meeting's over.